Welcome everyone. Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're tackling a massive tension that honestly pretty much all of us are feeling right now. On one hand, you've got our frantic modern hustle, that endless, exhausting grind to secure our lives and completely control every single outcome. And on the other hand, we have this incredibly profound, ancient formula for ultimate peace of mind. Today we're going to explore some absolutely brilliant insights from the late Dr. Farid al-Ansari. Specifically, we'll be looking at his deep reflections on Surah At-Tariq, the piercing star, and exploring his core message, do not fear the future. We're going to see exactly how this ancient wisdom is the perfect antidote to our modern anxieties.
Because let's be real, we live in an era where we literally try to micromanage our destinies. We use artificial intelligence to predict every tiny business trend. We use social media to meticulously curate our public lives. But what if we've got it all wrong? What if the actual secret to securing our future isn't about controlling everything we can physically see, but rather trusting what we cannot see? It's a total paradigm shift.
To really understand this illusion of control we're all chasing, let's look at a recent experiment from one of our sources. A seasoned entrepreneur tried a 7-day challenge to build a dropshipping business entirely run by AI. He used AI to find a niche, build the whole store in hours, and run ads on a strict $250 budget. He tracked every single metric, every click, ordering products to his own house to test them out, just absolutely sweating over ad performance. And after all that intense hustle, all that micromanagement, the net profit was $82. It perfectly highlights our desperate need to try and force success, to secure our futures through sheer anxious action.
Now, contrast that behind-the-scenes financial hustle with our online lives. While we're grinding away in reality, we're projecting something entirely different on our screens. As Yassin Al-Amri so sharply points out, 95% of the luxury you see on social media is an absolute illusion. It's totally fake. So we're caught in this bizarre trap, right? We have this massive anxiety about controlling our real-world outcomes, while simultaneously stressing out because our real lives don't match the completely fabricated illusions we're scrolling through. Seriously, no wonder we're so anxious about the future.
Well, let's move into Section 1, Beyond the Screen.
The crucial turning point here is a concept Dr. Al-Ansari calls the cosmic citizen. In his reflections on Surah At-Tariq, he explains that just as there is a cosmic watcher over every soul, we are honestly looking at human life through the completely wrong lens. You see, you aren't just a creature confined to your city or, even just planet Earth. You are profoundly connected to the heavens, to the angels ascending and descending, to the ancient past, and to eternity itself. When you start viewing yourself as this majestic citizen of the universe, rather than just a stressed-out hustler trying to control tomorrow's metrics, the anxiety just begins to melt away. Your scale of existence is literally cosmic.
Which brings us to Section 2, the proofs of the unseen.
Let's look at the historical proof, starting with the story of Prophet Musa. When he witnessed seemingly tragic, completely unjust events, like the taking of a young boy's life, his very human reaction was immediate alarm and outrage. He saw the physical apparent reality, but the hidden divine wisdom, that was entirely different. That boy would have grown up to terribly oppress his righteous parents with disbelief, and God intended to replace him with a much better, purer child. This just brilliantly illustrates how incredibly limited our vision of destiny really is. We only see the surface, right? But the cosmic citizen trusts the unseen wisdom operating just beneath it.
And this builds directly into the idea of unseen provision. Think about Hajar. She was left with her baby Ismail in a harsh, completely barren desert in Mecca. Materially speaking, it was a death sentence. She was a helpless mother watching her child literally cry from thirst. But what did she do? She chose absolute trust in the unseen. And because of that unwavering trust, the angel Jibreel struck the earth and the miraculous water of Zamzam gushed forth. It's proof that even in total material desolation, cosmic provision is always there if we just trust it.
And hey, this applies to physical threats too. At the Battle of the Trench, the legendary giant Amr bin Wood crossed over and challenged the entire Muslim army. The sources describe how thousands of men were virtually paralyzed by the sheer physical intimidation of this undefeated warrior. But then a young Ali bin Abi Talib stepped forward. He didn't have the physical size, not at all, but he had absolute certainty in his faith. With one decisive strike, the giant was defeated. It just goes to show that unseen faith and conviction are what secure the future, not just physical might or material advantage.
So, moving on to Section 3, the real danger.
We need a stark reality check here. The sources mention a pretty terrifying prophecy.
At the end of times, when faith has basically vanished from the earth, the Kaaba itself, the holiest site, the direction millions of us face every single day, will be dismantled, stone by a man known as Du al-Suwayokatain. He'll tear down its beautiful covering and dig right down to its foundations. Why even highlight something so intense? To show us that even the most sacred physical structures in this world are temporary. Material permanence should absolutely never be our ultimate goal, because everything physical will eventually perish.
So if material things fade, what is the unseen danger we should actually worry about? Well, the number 11 gives us a clue. This represents the 11 knots of pure envy tied by a man named Labid ibn Asam. He was literally hired to harm the Prophet through dark magic, tying these knots into a string using strands of hair and a comb, and hiding them in the dark, murky depths of an old well called Darwan. It was a completely unseen attack, fueled entirely by jealousy.
But how does the universe respond to that kind of unseen danger? Those 11 knots of darkness were directly countered by 11 verses of pure light. The Prophet was guided to that well, and as he recited these specific verses, Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas, the knots untied one by one. Surah Al-Falaq acts as this incredible shield against external harms, the evils of the nights and the envy of others. Meanwhile, Surah An-Nas is your shield against internal harm. You know, those quiet whispers that make you doubt yourself and forget your Creator. It proves that true protection doesn't come from trying to fight the unseen with our own two hands. It comes from seeking refuge in the Lord of mankind. And wow, is this ever relevant to us today? Because the exact same envy that was hidden down in a well thousands of years ago, it now hides right in our smartphones. We sit there scrolling through curated, fake lives, counting blessings that aren't ours, and we feel that absolute burn of comparison. But the reality is, whoever carries envy only burns themselves. It literally destroys the heart from the inside out.
Which perfectly sets up our final part, Section 4, the cure for anxiety.
So what's the ultimate cure? It's the Qulb, Salim, the sound heart. Prophet Ibrahim, in his beautiful, desperate plea, recognized a fundamental truth. On the day of judgment, your wealth won't matter, your children won't matter, the daily metrics of your AI store definitely won't matter. The only currency that holds any actual value in the entire cosmos is a sound heart. A heart that is totally free of envy, free of those heavy worldly attachments, and just completely, utterly sincere to its creator.
Listen to this profound quote from Dr. Ahmed Al-Arabi. He says, "Work for one face, and it will suffice you against all other faces." I mean, just think about the immense peace that comes from that mindset. Instead of frantically trying to please the algorithm or your boss or your social media followers, trying to control a million different variables that just cause you massive anxiety, you simply focus on singular sincerity to the Creator. It is literally the ultimate efficiency. Dr. Al-Ansari makes this point so incredibly clear. There's this story of an Arab Bedouin who once asked if he only did the absolute bare minimum of the 5 pillars, no extra voluntary acts, nothing else, would he be saved? And the answer was yes, absolutely, if he was truly sincere. It's not about stacking up a mountain of anxious hustle culture actions. A few, completely pure, truly sincere actions are vastly superior. The sound heart is the only thing that saves you. So I want to leave you with this final thought. If your future, your provision, and your entire destiny are already securely written by the Lord of the cosmos, the exact same Lord who provided for Hajar in that desolate desert and protected the Prophet from unseen magic, why on earth are you letting the whispers of the world, the algorithms, and the fake illusions of social media write your fears? It's time to step out of the anxiety, embrace your true role as a cosmic citizen, and just focus on building a sound heart. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.